Hello, everybody. How you guys doing? Thank you so much for joining us once again. It's been a marathon show today, and you must bear with us. But you see, the way we see the issues, that's how we tackle it. And you guys know, like I always say, I wear so many hats. So we bring out a hat depending on what issue is in the front burner. And right now, unless you are new to issues that are happening all over the world, you will agree with me that some of the issues that you see us picking are issues that are worth talking about. They are not things that you sweep under the carpet. That is why it is a big pleasure for me today to have in our studios this evening someone who I have a lot of respect for, because I have known him for so many years, and I have seen him in so many leadership. I've seen him handle so many leadership positions, and we've quarreled a couple of times too. You know, when you quarrel with someone, it makes you actually come to understand the strength of their character. You know what they are like. It is when you actually quarrel with someone that you know their limits. You know the lines that they draw, that once you cross it, they are not willing to back out. So it has made me understand him better. So I've been with him through good times, through bad times, through hard times, through so many times. So when I tell you that I know this person, I want you to know that I know that person. But for you today that is going to learn more about him, I'm going to ask you to please help me as I welcome to our studio tonight none other person than Nze Tim Okafor. Nze Tim Okafor is a national coordinator for IPOB Canada. Nze Tim Okafor, you're welcome. Let me hold on. Sorry, it looks like all the time I've been talking. Okay, go ahead, go ahead. Nze Timokafo, who can hear you. Welcome.
I said, thank you for having me, Doc.
Okay, good, good, good. Now, Nze Timokafo, I just wrote out there and just introduced you as the national coordinator for IPOB Canada. For the benefit of people who may be hearing about IPOB for the first time, can you help us understand who are IPOB and what is the meaning of IPOB?
IPOB simply stands for Indigenous People of Biafra. This is an umbrella organization that caters for people who are born in the defunct Biafra Republic. So if you go back between 1967 and 1970, there was a country called Biafra. The people who make up this indigenous people of Biafra are people who are born within the territorial definition of that particular defunct republic. And the members simply is a civil rights movement. IPOB is nothing more than a civil rights movement founded to guarantee, to fight for the guarantee of equal rights of every Biafran. So primarily, it's a civil rights movement where we educate members on their civil liberties, on how to be safe to demand that these rights be as contained and guaranteed by the Constitution and the global treaties, that they understand in the context of who they are, their aspirations, within the context of the law, that they can fight for those rights. That's in a nutshell what IPOB is set out to do. And that is the objective of IPOB. So it's a civil rights movement.
Okay, I'm going to ask you two questions in one. Uh, First question is, when you say IPOB, Indigenous People of Biafra, and then you've just told us the area of concentration of IPOB. um, that is people who fall within the boundaries that IPOB acknowledges as Biafra. But let me also ask you, is the activities of IPOB restricted or only visible in that geographical location that is delineated as Biafra land, or is it, of course, by virtue of the fact that you are coordinating IPOB Canada? I want you to give us a sense of the spread of IPOB. That's what I'm trying to find out, whether it is just localized in the region known as Biafra, or give us a sense of the magnitude of its spread, and also help us also understand, that's the second question, who formed IPOB and the genesis of IPOB.
Well, first and foremost, it's difficult to define in terms of current boundaries where IPOB starts and where it ends. But we do know the ethnic composition of IPOB. When you begin to look at it, it stretches up to Edo State, Kogi State, Benue State, and going southeast. So that's just, but that's not really an issue because primarily what IPOB is asking is that there be a referendum, just like they had in Canada here when they determined where Newfoundland and Labrador should belong recently, which means all that we're asking is that a ballot be put up where you ask every indigenous person in Nigeria where they want to belong. So there'll be option belong to Nigeria, belong to Biafra, belong to Ipob, belong to any different imaginable composition you think about. And then people will then decide organically where they want to belong. Now, why is that important? It is important because every successful country in the world came to be in that way. It was God's creation. People, nations. A nation is defined as people that have same language, same religion, same civilization. If you do this, just like every other country did theirs, people came together and decided to live and commune together. So that is in a nutshell what we are asking to be done. Because the biggest symbol of racism is what the British created in Africa. British, the French, they gathered tribesmen, people that have nothing in common other than they're black people, kingdoms that fought understanding that those tribesmen do not understand the concept of country, that you have to remove the color of your tribe to wear the color of the country, that it will take millions of years to educate these tribesmen on how to create a country. They deliberately did this so that these people will be laid waste, they and their children. So it was a deliberate racist creation to continuously put Africa and black people where they want them. It is impossible in the current Nigeria to identify one single person that can lay down their life for Nigeria. But we have communities in Igbo land, in Epic, in Ibibio, where people can lay down their life for their communities. Because if a man can lay down his life for his family and take bullet for his wife and his children, that is the nucleus. That particular section of the country is very important to him. People do not steal from their family. So you can't find a man stealing from their family. It's an abnormality. You extend that to your town. A lot of things that happen in the town or villages are people giving their money to the villages to set up electricity and all that and all that. Again, people are willing to die for that particular environment. But when you stretch it to the country, you then find different tribesmen, Yoruba, Hausa, Ibibi, or Efi, all they first of all see themselves as tribesmen going to compete for resources at the center, sometimes scheming how to outwit each other, to kill each other. So there's some sort of internal competition going on. And that in itself is so unhealthy. It's not meant to, countries do not exist like that. So what we are trying to do under indigenous people of Biafra is to give these indigenous people the opportunity to be to be part of the country, to create a country where they feel comfortable and at some point would be willing to die for that particular country.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, you have, my. Let me try to guide us again. I wanted to know the spread of IPOB, and now you have explained to us the concept of IPOB and what you hope to achieve. I want to know who started IPOB. The reason for this is I know a lot of these things, but I want to be able to deal with controversies out there. So that's why I want, especially for people in the diaspora, for a lot of our listeners are listening from outside the country. They are scattered all over the world. I want to be able to help them understand, what is the origin of IPOB. I've understood right now from what you have said. They understand what IPOB stands for, and what is their reach in terms of ideology. But now I want us to specifically talk about who started IPOB, and where IPOB exists before we talk about the existence of IPOB in Canada.
well, permit me, I'm not very good with history, and it's not one of the things that I pride myself on. Um, there are people who started IPOB. I wasn't there where it was started. I joined the IPOB at some point. So, how did the IPOB start? The IPOB started when a group of people came together, people who had also shared the vision for restoration of Biafra and decided to set up what we now know as indigenous people of Biafra. And in that context, they looked at what was existing before and found out that there was no platform to educate the people. So the cornerstone of the new Biafran restoration project was hinged on mass education, which means that these founders understood the importance of platform like you have, and they decided to find the Radio Biafra so that from Radio Biafra and all its affiliate broadcasting platforms, we be able to reach people of like minds, people who cherish freedom, that have intention to work and create something for their children and posterity. And they founded Indigenous People of Biafra, and of which Mazin Nandukanu is the leader of that particular group. Now, I know what you're asking, just like every other thing. The advent of these online platforms have helped the world to disseminate information in a supersonic speed. But it also has its own drawbacks. There's so many conspiracies and fake news all over the place. If you, as a journalist, want to present an information, at least you do due diligence. and use forms and means journalists use to verify information. Well, when we use WhatsApp and all the social media, we become journalists with our training. So, and there's nothing that regulates this profession because every individual then becomes a journalist and they can put up fake news. So, I am not going to concentrate myself discussing all the theories out there, how IPOB was started, who started it, who got this and that. Just like the message of Christ, the theme of the Bible was that man sinned and came short of glory of God. And God brought Jesus Christ to come and restore his kingdom so that we get back to him. That is the same thing I apply in the concept of Biafra, that we've all agreed in one thing, that we want to restore Africa the way it was before the white man came, and then decide based on uniqueness and similarities and civilization, groupings of people who understand each other. If there are people who have had the civilization of Islam and want to be governed by Sharia, that is their right to do so. And if there are people who want a secular state, a progressive secular state, that is also their right to do so. And other things that we're doing this now doesn't mean that if Nigeria is going to emerge in the future that it shouldn't. It should emerge organically, just like the United States of America, where these smaller independent units will come together and agree, not by five people, a Wolo Wozika are going to make talk to the white people and the white and that's it. No. People we then know ab initio that if you want a country, you can't have part of it have Sharia and half of it have common law. That if we cannot have a country modeled in the sense of United States or Great Britain, it be modeled with respect to something that looks like Saudi Arabia. If you tell me that we need to have a country that looks like Saudi Arabia, and I tell you, no, I want a country that looks like Canada, it then means we cannot federate. And then this is Africans have to sit down and redo what somebody did for them, which we have proven now that those foundations are very flawed. And it was intentionally created in such a way that this will not work. We've seen um, a lot of education from Nigeria to now. The recent Mr. Smith interview, I'm a student. I'm looking at things, I'm putting things together and finding things that when you then look at it in totality, you'll be like, okay, so why did the British create Nigeria and sabotage Nigeria?
Yeah.
If 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 they want to create a beautiful country and take it as a project, Nigeria will be heaven. But that's not the objective. So
Sorry,
so
sorry, Tim. I want to cut you there.
yeah.
When someone is listening to you, and I know you don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but this helps what I'm trying to do. Um, I want us to tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do in Canada? And when you answer that question before I go to the reason why I'm asking you that, I know that I'm so actually grateful that you actually accepted to do this interview because I know you were at work and you had to stop work to do this interview. So I appreciate that, by the way. I know you're right now in your office, but tell us a little bit of what you do and who you are.
Like I said, my name is Timothy Edochie Okafor. People call me Tim. I'm a chartered accountant. I was a chartered accountant in Nigeria I was chartered on the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, and I'm a chartered accountant under the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario and Canada. Um, I did work as senior financial analyst for over 8 years with Warner, and currently I have my own firm, Shaw Business Solutions Inc. We do deal primarily with business advisory. Um, we do engage in corporations, corporate income tax, personal income tax, and every other financial matters that individuals or companies do have, majority of them. So, like I said, I'm in my office right now. But when you told me about this opportunity to talk about things that are very personal and very important to me, and then I decided to oblige because I think it's part of what IPOB set out to do to educate people who we are, what we are up to, what we intend to achieve,
You know
and the
why?
yeah.
Sorry, sir. You know why I had to ask you that question, and I know I see a framed document behind. I assume that's your certification from the Canadian. What's that? What's that certificate behind you?
Well, initially I was a member of the this says the Certified General Accountants Association of Ontario, and this says Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario.
Okay.
And if you look here, it's the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria. So I've I've practiced accounting in both countries.
The reason why I had to point that out is that I know a lot of people who like to demean IPOB, who like to say that those people, they are just charlatans, they are people of a lower pedigree, they are people who are just hooligans, they are people who don't know what they are doing. So I needed to point out that, you see, there are people of your caliber in IPOB, and that's why. And you, what I have found is that different people are supposed to minister to different people. There are several kinds of people in the world. And so when you, sometimes you're actually listening to a message that is meant for another person. But when we hear people like you talk, the good thing about it is that you are able to minister to people who consider themselves of a certain pedigree and who want to be spoken to the way you're speaking to them. So I needed to bring that out. Now, having said that, tell us about IPOB in Canada. What is your structure? What are you guys all about? And how do you go about the business of educating people about IPOB?
IPOB is sort of it has a very is a structured organization in the sense that I would liken it to for people who are conversant with religious institutions. The Catholic Church has the pontiff and the cardinals, and then have dioceses and bishops around the world. That's the way IPOB is set up. So if you come to Canada, I be the most senior principal servant, which means here's me, here's the deputy national coordinator and the secretary. So we have office of the national. And then we have provincial coordinators and their deputies, their treasurers, people that handle finances and stuff like that. So it's typically just like every other institution you will find. That's our structure. And the ethos of this organization is hinged on similar to what you find in the Catholic Church, is on obedience. So we are trained to obey. The principles, the ingredient of command and control when you hear it is your ability to obey. That doesn't mean that in IPOB that information only flows from top to bottom. No, information also flows from bottom up. So I don't want people to misunderstand the concept of command and control. during the process of making decisions, that people's opinion are sought, just like you normally have in a meeting. The only difference is that we do not engage in meetings with the Robertson rules. We don't put it on a vote. But avenues are open for people to have an input. So, but if I am the most senior principal sergeant, I make the ruling. Just like a pontiff, we make a ruling. Just like a bishop, we make a ruling. That doesn't mean that these institutions do not listen to the members. So why do we bring this up? Because such a struggle, when you're surrounded by enemies, you don't want enemies to come in and take over your institution. If you allow people to come in and vote, just like political parties, one day you lose control of the machinery because it's a liberation struggle. So you do not and will not find such an institution like your local meetings that are more democratic in nature than this. It's simply designed to protect the institution itself. So that is the difference. Like I said, we are in almost all the provinces, except very few provinces that normally has very little presence of our people. As we are immigrants, we tend to stay more in Ontario, in British Columbia, in Quebec, in Manitoba, in Alberta. Very few presence in PEI and other very remote areas of Canada.
Thank you,
But
thank you, Mr. Team.
yeah,
Now let's zoom home, and I know a lot of people that are wondering why are we going through all of this. The reason why I personally want to go through all of this is, and I'm trying to appeal to a certain group of people because in this job I get a lot of feedbacks from a lot of people, and I see a lot of barrier that prevents people from actually benefiting from what is going on. You tend to have a misconception about a group and the people who are members of that group and the leadership of that group, and because of that you don't want anything to do with the group. But by trying to go back and start from the rudiments of that organization and present to you what they're all about, their structure and their leadership, when they are now talking, for those of you who allow those barriers, when they are now talking, you'll be able to understand what they're saying. So, the team, you've told us what uh, IPOB is all about, what you stand for. Let's go back now to Nigeria and Enugu. Let's zoom into Enugu, where recently there was a killing of innocent, unarmed IPOB members, and the controversy is raging. For me personally, it is sad, shameful, and very, very disappointing to hear some of my friends actually engage me in discussions where they will say, Chidi, why would IPOB members be meeting when they have been proscribed, and trying to justify the action of the state security apparatus on these unarmed individuals? From your own point of view, I want you to speak on that incident. How do you see it, and what is your submission concerning that incident?
I am of the opinion that when Nigeria was created, if Nigeria had worked, if Nigeria had become a country, that there will be no agitation for a sovereign state of Biafra. So what you see today is what was created by Nigeria. We live in a country where there's a lot of indigenous organizations that participate in the political process. of Nigeria. So you have the Benifere, the Ariwa, and they're all advocating for a group of people inside one country. And then citizens that have right to be part of the decision on how they are governed decides we want to exercise that peacefully. And then the government decides they shouldn't. In fact, blackmail them to what they are not. These individuals are protected by international laws, civil rights laws, and fundamental human rights. And they decide to pursue those rights within the context of what they desire for themselves and their children. But because a group of people who are continuously benefiting from the system have come together to say they shouldn't. I will relate this to what is happening in America. There are people out there protesting the unjust killing of citizens. Let me put it that way. More importantly, brown people. And the reason why they're on the street, it's because they feel aggrieved, because they believe that somebody is not obeying the laws that says that all citizens are equal. They are equal before the law.
Hmm.
That how you treat A is how you will treat B. It's not different. The same thing happened when civil rights movement started. People were fighting against the institution of slavery. They said, we are equal human beings. We deserve to be treated equally. Even though the laws of the United States said you shouldn't. Even though the laws of Canada said you shouldn't. Even though the laws of the United Kingdom said you shouldn't. It's repugnant to fairness. So every man. So the indigenous people of Biafra have said, we will continue to ask for things we believe that is right. So the mere fact that people who are benefiting and enslaving their fellow citizens have come out and said you shouldn't, cannot and will not be taken in such a manner. So that is why the members of indigenous people of Biafra have taken it upon themselves to represent the larger population and say, no, that shouldn't be done because we have rights and these rights has to be respected. So it's just a way of protest against injustice. It's not different from the protest you see anywhere when people feel aggrieved that they do protest. So that is why you will continue to see indigenous people of Biafra. The message we are preaching is actually reaching far and beyond because a lot of people have gotten this message. They've died and keyed into our vision. The vision we have is a vision that will elevate black men in the entire world because it'll be an institution, a country that believes in free enterprise, that will have an educational system that will educate its citizens so that the engineers will be able to invent things, so that they will be able to create a country of prosperity. And when we talk about IPOB ideal, some people think, oh, it's not only IPOB. No, it will help mankind. It will help the Oduduwa state. There are several states in Africa that will do a lot better than they're doing because of what was created by the colonial masters. And
Maz,
those,
sorry, I'm always cutting you. When you heard that those guys were killed in Enugu, I want us to speak to the opinion that some people had that they shouldn't have held the meeting in the first place because IPOB was proscribed, trying to flip it and make the people who are the victims to be the offenders. What do you have to say to that?
Well, it's really ironic that people will even think of saying stuff like that. I'm a member of Indigenous People of Biafra here. No one is arrested. I haven't killed anybody. I'm not a felon.
Having said that, has IPOB done anything that is official? When I say anything official, does IPOB do anything that the government of Canada gives approval and even provides security for?
Well, you were here when Mazen Nandekano came here. We had police that came to secure the premises for us. The government of Canada do accept people who are fleeing persecution, people who are scared of their life because of the attitude of the Nigerian government, who have fled Nigeria and came to Canada to seek refuge. And Canada do give them refugee status and convert them to permanent residents. So what that means, if you go to Immigration Canada website and read the dossier there, they clearly say that IPOB is a peaceful movement and it's not a terrorist organization. And that is shared across the G7 countries, most of Europe and Asia. So we know who are terrorists. They cover themselves. They don't operate openly. They carry arms. They are destructive. They kill the men, the rape. This is not IPOB. We are a civil rights movement trying to educate our people that, listen, you don't need to live in the current Nigeria forever because this limits you. This reduces you to animals. The condition is worsening every day. You can find a better country where your children will have a future, be safe, be prospering. They don't need to remain in this forever. And that is what we're telling every other section of the country, that a white man came and said, you are one. Inside it, you don't feel comfortable being one. Every day you go to Abuja to fight, oh, they built road for Kaduna, they didn't build for the East, they didn't build that. This is a country. I can't even remember since I came to Canada um, who decides what to be built. I think it's even handled by civil servants, which roads that need to be done. They give a permit in certain area and they develop there because they see themselves as. Remember, the Quebecers in this country, when we came here, are still up to today asking for their own country outside Canada. A beautiful country like Canada. I can die for this country.
Yes,
And
I say that all the time, my brother. I live in Canada and I say proud that I can die for Canada. So, in essence, if a country like Canada that is as big as it is fighting terrorism, does not view IPOB as a terrorist organization, why would somebody now be inside Nigeria and be trying to put up an argument that IPOB should not be holding a lawful assembly because the government of Nigeria says it is proscribed?
well, that's one of the things when people say that black man hasn't really proven to be intelligent among other races. It's because they don't process information the way other people who are progressive process information. Now, there's a lot of tribes people in Africa, so they interpret things from a tribal perspective. It's rarely you find an Igbo man, for example, support a universal truth that concerns a Yoruba man or vice versa or Hausa man. So until we get over that, that an Hausa man is being killed by the security operatives should be of a concern to every tribesman. Because one day it is A, the next day it's going to be B. Why do I look at the Black Lives Movement in America and I see a lot of white people. I see a lot of white people standing side by side, a lot of Spanish standing side by side protesting against injustice done to black. Why should they be there? Because they have a liberated mind. They understand that that is going to make their country great. That a place where equality and fairness and prosperity is abound, that things will be much better than it is. So they are all progressive minded. So there's no barriers to processing information the way they should. So, and that is the problem with Nigeria. So people look at how they're benefiting from the system and say, and start processing information like that. My brother is a governor, for example, so I can support IPOB because it is us that is benefiting now. Even when they kill IPOB people, instead of saying, what did the law say? Did the law say that if people are having unlawful meeting, for example, that the army or police should go there and shoot them up? Did he say they should be arrested? What did he say? Is that kind of policing or the military brute force going to massacre people? Is that what makes us a civilized society? Black Lives Movement is here protesting what whites do to blacks. I mean, rogue whites, because majority of the white people are excellent people. There are two kinds of white people. People who've gone to school with other black people and know that black people are human beings like them. They can compete in class, in academics, in sports. So the other one is not really inferior. And they've come to accept it. There are ones that know that, but have refused in their mind to accept it. Those are the ones we are talking about, you know. So when you say, oh, this sort of shooting is bad, they remind you that blacks kill black. And how will you convince such people that black people value black people's lives when you see what the carnage that's happening in Africa? It's an eyesore. They will ask them, go back to Africa and see brutality. Go and kill yourself. If America isn't good for you, try Africa, where the government will send the army, SSS, and whatever, and go and shoot up people who are not armed. And nobody is on the street protesting, except the people that were killed, indigenous people of Biafra. If you had done that in Canada and in US, the whole community will come out and protest against this. Even when they go to arrest a criminal has rights.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Sorry, that's the point. You just made a very good point here, because that's what I try to show. That's what I try to tell people. If you believe that in Nigeria there is a right constitution, if you believe that the government is doing the right thing, then you need to be taught that in civilizations that you claim to copy, even when someone has killed a person and they come to that scene, the person is arrested, is treated properly, and this same person can sue you for the way you handle them. This is somebody who has killed somebody. The person they killed is there. It is not that the person is not a criminal, but they also have rights, and that's what you just brought out here. So that is even a clear argument against somebody who is saying, oh, why should they be meeting when they are proscribed and they deserve. That is absolutely wrong. Now, you also said something, I'll come back to that, but let me talk about recently. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was broadcasting, and he was thanking uh, some people that he said they gave money, and he mentioned Canada, and he said something was received from Canada. I want you to talk about it, because I mean people just heard that something came from Canada, and you are the coordinator of IPOB in Canada. So tell us a little bit about that, because it's an open thing. It's not a secret. Nnamdi Kanu was thinking about something that came from Canada. So how did that come to be? And maybe from that we'll get a feel of the role that IPOB Canada branch plays in the whole system of things.
Well, um, the people that make up IPOB, like I said, people from the word indigenous people of Biafra means that everybody who is a Biafra is a member of IPOB. Now, there's a difference between being a Biafran and a member of an incorporation called Indigenous People of Biafra Canada. I would liken that to again to Christianity. When Christ came to preach the gospel, he chose some apostles or disciples, as you may call them. The message of Christ was for everybody, but there are people who championed it. They bore the brunt of it. They were murdered, they were killed, they put in their resources and time. And that's how I describe the current people that are inside IPOB as participants. Now, the money you're describing was given by Igbo Diaspora Development Agency. It's a not-for-profit organization that primarily concerned about people's safety, especially women. So the majority of the members came from um, Biafra, Igbo. So they are Igbos. Let me put it that way. They are Igbos that is in Biafra. They came together, and we're looking at events that were happening in Biafra land. There are cases of Fulani herdsmen in the bushes and forests of Igbo land that have become a threat to the people of those communities, to the extent that there have been people that have been murdered, that have been raped. And they consider that an existential threat to their people. I'm a member of IDDA. You're a member of IDDA. So people who were concerned about this particular ugly incidences came together and decided to raise some funds, because we know it's one thing to have the human resources to protect the people. It's another thing to have the resources to get a vehicle or other things that security operatives, radios and other things that will enable a community to be fortified and be secured. So that discussion actually started at the height of insecurity when we started seeing during the lockdown, we started seeing swaths of people moving from the north to the east without any explanation as to why such a movement. And people were worried. And they came together and said they want to participate. They want to help the people that live in eastern Nigeria to help secure their communities. And they looked at it and they said, how do we channel this security? They found that IPOB has the manpower. There are a lot of young people who could be employed in the defense of their community. And they decided, since IPOB has a structure, a well defined system of obedience, where there will be some command and there will be some reciprocable uh, obedience. That platform will best present an avenue to support that security initiative. And therefore, several meetings were called, just like what Igbo Congress tried to was at the same time. So it's a similar initiative. But this one is domiciled in Canada. It's still ongoing. We are raising money and we are using that money not only on IPOB, but will be used for other things, especially for the security of women against rape. So these are laudable initiatives. So it's not just for this going forward. That organization is looking for resources, and we deploy those resources as a matter of contingencies where they are needed to solve such security issues that might present itself at time from time. So people came together, donated money, and then called me as the national coordinator. I feel happy because they appreciate that our brothers and sisters that are frontline people in Nigeria are giving their lives in the defense of their communities. So, and people might stand outside there and be talking, but I take solace for the fact that when Obasanjo spoke at some point, he said there's Islamization going on. There are people moving from the north to the south. Just last week or so, a general in the US have affirmed those same words, saying that terrorist organizations are infiltrating the north. We have another northerner say, while describing what's going on in Southern Kaduna, I've forgotten the name of the man, I think it was the deputy central bank governor at some point
Yeah,
before.
it's um, fa- my fire or something. I think.
Yes. And he also said the same thing. He affirmed what we've been saying all along.
Mazi team, let me say something. You see, there's something you just said now that it is worthy of pointing out. I keep telling people, by virtue of where I did a program where I say you don't belong to Biafra. You don't become a member of Biafra. just just like you don't become a member of Igbo or a member of Anang or a member of, you are, by virtue of where you were born, by virtue of your parents, by virtue of your origin, you actually become that. So I've told people, you don't join to become a member of Biafra. I say, are you a member of Biafra? Do you belong to that? You don't belong to, you are. And when you now say indigenous people of Biafra, you just explained it. That indigenous people of Biafra, the corporate organization with people who are members, I've always told people, and I wish that our brothers and sisters will understand this, that if you find yourself to be a member of IPOB, people si na ọkụ agụnye nwata n'aka ada elegbu ya, and they also say that who much is given, much is expected. If you find yourself to be a member of IPOB, it is actually a privilege that you should treat, you should guard it with so much, you should be careful. Because amongst so many people who are involved in this struggle, the people in Canada are not stupid when they would come together and say, come, we have looked at everything. And I'm talking to you now that has some very funny ideologies. You heard Mazi Tim Okafor say, Chidi, you're a member of this IDDA, you condemn means my money was in that money that was sent. And there are so many people like this. We are not stupid to look at IPOB and say we have looked and we think that you people, IPOB, we are confident enough to commit this into your hands. I need people to understand it is not who makes noise the most in social media or in the public. There are so many things that are going on in the background. And that's why I brought people like Timo Okafor to speak to you. So that if you don't listen to a certain kind of people, you can listen to a certain kind of people and understand. If you find yourself a member of the corporate entity of IPOB, you should conduct yourself much better and with the kind of dignity of somebody who is a front runner and a flag bearer. The what do you call it? The thing that you're carrying on your shoulder is very heavy and it is on behalf of a generation. You don't have somebody say you don't have time for civilian activities. You don't have time to be engaging some people online because I see some people engaging. You don't have time for that. The job that you should be up about that you're doing on behalf of a lot of people, it is plenty. And know it today, like we have heard Tim say that when somebody is a Biafran, they are an indigenous person of Biafra. But you, that is a member of that corporate registered entity, IPOB, you should carry yourself like somebody who wakes up and says, oh my God, the weight of what I have to do is heavy on my shoulder. I really want to see us conducting ourselves that way. So thank you so much, Tim, for bringing that out. I like the way you put it. Now, I want you to advise us on how we can support the efforts that IPOB is making under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu all over the world and within the geographical location of Nigeria, in Biafra land itself. How can people support this thing? Someone actually asked on the forum. Someone said, "How can I join?" I think I saw somebody asking, "How can I join IPOB?" And it says, "Is this Saskatchewan?" We will find it and we'll let you know so that you can connect with this person after the show, and direct them properly. But well, Kitchener. Somebody wants to know how they can join IPOB in Kitchener. So help us also tell our listeners how they can participate in all this whole thing that is going on, whether intellectually, whether financially, by whatever means they can be part of this whole thing and contribute to the movement.
Okay, thank you, Doc. Let me digress before I get to how they are going to help. The biggest help you can help indigenous people of Biafra is to educate Biafra. The sole purpose of IPOB is education. The difference between USA, Canada, and Africa is the level of civilization. Civilization is defined as a collective experience of people. So if you come to Canada, this is a typical example I normally give. And there's a stop sign on the road, and there's a car that people drive. But everybody who gets into car put on their seatbelt, and they go to a stop sign, they stop, regardless of whether police is there or not, because subconsciously, Canada have taught them for your safety and the safety of other road users, please put on your belt. The car is designed that when you put on your belt and there's an accident, it minimizes the impact. Now, that's not of civilization. That is knowledge. In Nigeria, for example, that simple thing haven't registered. People still drive without seatbelts, don't even stop the roads until when there's police. Police has to enforce those things because they don't believe in them. They haven't gotten civilized to understand how these things work. One way of helping us is if you do send resources to us, if you don't want to participate as a member and you commit your resources to us, we are using different platforms to educate people of a vision of a country where there will be water, electricity, hospitals, even the basic things that people need. You know, that is what we are focusing on people. When you close your eyes, why can't we create a country like Canada in Africa? Why? It is impossible to transform Nigeria into Canada because of the structural deficiencies of the country itself. Because you cannot go into a country and have a Ohanese, a Afenifere, Arewa group, Middle Belt group, all advocating for the benefit of their people, yet in one country. So, where's the big picture? And therefore, what you have is instead of having an external competition of this country going to dominate the world, they are busy killing each other. And then, no country that has a mixture of different religion, different ethnicity, different civilization has ever succeeded in the entire world. So if you want to succeed, then look at other countries. Countries that try to do what Nigeria did, like USSR, Yugoslavia, they've all gone into pieces. Indians were smart enough to have Pakistan, but they're still fighting up to today. So when you have nations, not states like we have now, nation state, not countries, because nations minimize this friction and fosters unity and oneness. Because there are people with the same civilization. And I've heard people say, oh, Igbos, they don't like themselves. But Igbos don't kill each other. That's a part of their civilization. They go to court. They're civilized. You don't have community clashes where people kill each other every day. You don't have Boko Haram. It's against the ethos of an Igbo man. It's against the upbringing of an Igbo man. And so is other communities. The Muslims you find in Yoruba land are more like American Muslims. They are not fundamentalists. They they don't prevent women from doing ABCD or don't drink or that. They're more like westernized Muslims. But the Muslims you find in the north are hardcore Muslims who want to live in a different way, which is their right.
Actually, now that you're talking about Islam, I just heard that Ganduje, the governor of Kano, whether he has already signed the permits to execute the young man who was found guilty of singing a song that they consider to be against Prophet Muhammad. What do you have to say to that?
It's just mind blowing that in 2020 we'll be discussing that in Nigeria. I mean, it just blows your mind that a governor who was caught taking bribe is more concerned about someone who sang a song has to die than what is going on in Nigeria. So it tells you the whole problem I'm trying to explain to you. In some, you move from one part of the country to the other, and you change the way you live from one part of the country to another part of the country, and you could get in trouble. Your head could be beheaded if you go to somewhere and talk about Jesus, yet it's the same country. So, what am I trying to say? These things are real. People will tell you, oh, if you go to America, they have all kinds of races. Well, the people that founded America are white European Protestants that left Europe. When they came, they decided what kind of country they will have. One thing that bound them together was Christianity. So they came from the same civilization. That you find black people there was that this group of white people brought slaves to work their field. So they already had a country. They made the laws that govern that country to suit them. And then they brought blacks as proxies. And then, as the country was expanding, they decided to bring more people because they needed more people to fill jobs and the rest of the things to grow the economy. But that is not happening in Africa. You have a white man came and bundled a whole set of people who don't like each other and encouraged them to fight each other so that they will continue to sell arms, they will continue to rape the environment and take out resources. We are supposed to compete with them. We are supposed to compete with them as a country. And they are the people that came and formed you and tell you what you need to do. And we are drilling every day, and it's fine. Like Africa is being regarded as a dark continent. Every day, thousands of people die. You don't see that in mainstream media because those lives don't matter.
Yeah, yeah.
Those lives don't matter.
I would almost say the same thing. Now, let me quickly add that we'll be rounding the program very soon, but I know a lot of you have asked to call in, so I can tell you now that the lines are open. You may call us directly. It's better when you call directly than WhatsApp. So call directly on +1 647 989 2837. Dr. Erica is going to put it up. So please call +1 647 989 2837. Now, this is so that we can take your questions. If you have any question for the team Okafor, who is the national coordinator for indigenous people of Biafra in Canada, we will give you a chance to ask your question, or you want to make a contribution, but you have to make that very brief. So there you go. The lines are open. +1 647 989 2837, and I will also encourage you to keep your questions very civil and straight to the point. Tell us your name and tell us where you're calling from.
Hello, my name is Pascal from the United States. Mr. Tino, actually, I do appreciate your lecture, your well advanced on there. I wonder why you don't come often to kind of like tutors Radio Biafra. Your kind of person is needed. We need your kind of people. You know, I didn't know that we have such, honestly, such an articulate, person in IPOB, especially IPOB Canada. Honestly speaking, I don't have anything to say. Everything you said was very, very clear. But my request is that why don't you once in a while just come out and probably make a broadcast? That would be highly appreciated. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Where,
So,
where, where did you call from?
sorry, we missed where you're calling from. Tell us your name. Your thing was cracking where you were talking. Where are you calling from, and what's your name?
I'm calling from the United States. I'm not Georgia. My name is Pascal. I live here in the U.S.
Okay. As what?
Pascal. Pascal.
Pascal. Okay, Pascal from US. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. The team. So his question is, why don't you come up more often? He seems to have discovered gold. So, what do you have to say to that?
My brother, I do once in a while, and to be honest with you, it's one of the things that my immediate superior has been asking me to do, Mazi Obido Obienu. He has been asking me, not just me, um, other principal servants from Canada
Hold
here
on,
to
please.
appear more. Uh, Most often, the person that normally appear more is Mazi Onyeka, the provincial coordinator for Ontario. He does participate often. So, like I
Okay.
said to Pascal, I will make an effort to contribute more on the radio.
Thank you so much. I have a caller from. Sorry, tell us your name and where you're calling from. You're calling on WhatsApp. You need to be quick because the direct calls will normally bump you off. So go ahead, tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Chinyere Eze Ogu. I'm calling you from United States of America.
Go ahead.
I was just listening to the wonderful edition you're having today, and I feel I have to make some clarifications, and give my input in what you're saying. So without taking much of your time, I would like you to really be able to tolerate opposing views. That is why you are there. And I believe if you can stick to that, you will be, a very wonderful roadster, in the quest, for the final realization of the Biafran Republic. So I'd like you to keep it on and keep a neutral mind so that you can assess what people are saying. Why I called, because a lot of people all over the world are listening to this particular program. The indigenous people of Biafra under Nnamdi Kanu is quite different from the indigenous people of Biafra, which I say are the original owners of the land. That is one thing. So this differentiation must be recorded. Nnamdi Kanu IPOB does not symbolize the totality of the indigenous people of Biafra. That is very, very important. And it is a very major obstacle to the realization of the quest for the Republic of Biafra. One other thing I want to say again is this. Secondly, you see, you should not have a predisposed, what road, expectation, that Biafra realization must have to come through this way. That is one mistake people are make. In most cases, look, let me tell you one thing. The wide road, the big road that leads to destruction is always very wide. And the one that secures success is always very minor. Go and look at Elijah in the cave. The little voice, the wind came, the storm came, everything came, no, but then the little voice. That's the point. The issue of Biafran realization, a lot of Biafrans are sleeping all over the world. It's not even about Biafra per se. You see, let me just start with this thing. Let me just say, paraphrase this thing and allocate it to Biafran. Let me say, Biafrans are born free, but yet everywhere they are in chains. I can even take it again lower to say the black men are born free, but they are everywhere in chains. Some people are talking about colors of black, colors of black.
Sorry, my brother.
Let me just go straight to my point.
The point I want. Sorry, let me make you understand my point. You see, when we have when we have a special guest, it is the guest that we are listening to. And I can interview you personally, but when we give time for longer contribute, it almost look like you are the guest. I think your point that you have. Hold on one second. No, hold on one second. Hold on one second. I also like. I also like when we make, when we want to give our idea, we give it based on facts. You can get up and tell me that, Chidi, you are a very mad man, and you want to expect me to just accept it because I have to accept opinions. It doesn't work that way. You have to tell me that I am mad based on one, two, three, and that's your opinion, and it will be left for me to either accept or reject it. But one good thing that you have said is that you have advised that we have an open mind, and I think based on that, I think your point has been made. Let me take another call, and then maybe you can come back.
Excuse me. I've not even made my submission. Why don't you allow me just 2 minutes to make my?
Okay, make your submission. But sorry, hold on. Hello.
Yeah, Dr. Chidi.
No, sorry, hold on. We had somebody on the line who had not finished. So please, the last caller, I cut you off. I cut you off accidentally, and I want you to call back so we can finish with you. Sorry if I don't do that, people will misunderstand it. the last man who called from United States. Can you call back and just round up because I think I ended you accidentally. Hello.
Yeah,
I
I'm
hope
hearing you. Are you
thank,
hearing me?
thank God I
Are you
reconnected
hearing
you.
me?
Yes, please. So
Okay.
please round up. Yeah.
No, just 2 minutes, 2 minutes, two
Go
minutes.
ahead.
Please, I really thank you for this honor of making me to reconnect. You see, let me just tell you one thing. It's my message to all the Biafrans all over the world and the black race all over the world. What we are seeing of the Biafrans, it is emancipation, breaking up the chain of slavery in the neck of the whole black people all over the world. So everybody should feel concerned about what is happening. They don't keep quiet. When they keep quiet, everybody goes.
All
We
right.
are a vanishing generation. We have an enemy, a very deeper enemy that tends to exterminate us, that tends to completely exterminate us as a race.
Okay.
Because God has made us as the last answer that we break the bond of Islamization in Africa. So if they demanded to destroy the Biafrans, other West African countries will be just piecemeal, just an easy ride. So there are Biafrans who are keeping quiet, who are not paying interest in the issues that are happening today. And I have always said this: since the creation of this
No,
world,
you
since
see,
the
now
creation of this world,
I need to
this
stop
time
here
we are
because
living in the
you
Modelian
are
time.
now my brother.
Okay.
I don't mind interviewing you personally, but we should leave the stage for our special guest. But your point has been taken. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
Let our people rise up. That's what I want to tell them. Most
Thank you.
importantly,
Thank you
let
very
them
much.
feel concerned with what is happening.
Sorry, I need to let my brother go because so the team Okafor, like this platform we try to accommodate as much as possible, and his was a statement. I will let you respond to that, but let us take two or three more calls and then you can respond together. Please give us your name and where you're calling from, and please realize that you are on WhatsApp and somebody can bump off your call. So please go ahead, tell us your name and where you're calling from, and
Okay,
make your submission.
Dr. Chidi, thank you so much. My name is Gosri Chalaka. I'm a first-time caller, and I'm calling from Aberdeen, Scotland.
Okay, God's will.
And from my heart, I want to thank you very kindly for the good job you're doing. Thank you for giving a voice to the voiceless. We've been suppressed for so long. Thank God for the emergence of people like you. As in, I watch from Aberdeen. I may not have been contributing, but every day I pray for worship media.
Thank you.
Now, I want to thank you. See, looking at someone like Tim, imagine such an intelligent young man, the way he spoke tonight. Sometimes people mistake IPOB as miscreants. But look at such a very perceptive man tonight. He spoke with wisdom. And he made mention about educating our people. So I want to speak to our people. Our people should understand that Nnamdi Kanu they are following is a very disciplined and intelligent, well-informed young man. Our people should learn to get informed. Information is inspiration. Being aware makes you prepared. We need to be rightly informed. You see, in this modern age, you cannot fight battle without preparing yourself intellectually. It's an intellectual warfare. It's not a time for physicality, So, having said this, I have a question for Mr. T. I appreciate how much he has lectured us tonight. So the question I'm asking, unfortunately, my dad fought during the Biafran War. And today, my dad is late. He died last year. Now, I'm facing the same battle. It hurts me so much. We lost 5 million people. And that problem has not yet been resolved in that contraction, that evil contraction called Nigeria. So, and the quest for Biafran restoration is not one man's dynasty. It's all and sundry. All of us need to participate. But sometimes as I'm not trying to be cynical or pessimistic. Sometimes I feel afraid. I just feel all these things we are doing on social media, is it gonna end up on social media? Are we going to fail? So I want to ask Mr. Tim from my heart, what are the chances that we are not gonna succeed in this quest? I don't mean this question in a bad way, but I want him to please throw a little light on.
Oh my God. Sorry. Hold on. The person that is calling from the direct line. Hold on. Let's allow our brother on WhatsApp to finish. So please hold the line there. And our brother that is on WhatsApp, we're not hearing you, Lambo. Hold on. So the guy on WhatsApp, okay, the guy on WhatsApp, can you go ahead and round or just round up because the other calls are cutting you off?
Okay, the guy on WhatsApp, can you go ahead and round just round up because the other calls are cutting you off? Okay, so I was saying that I'm not being saying I have.
Just go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. Continue talking. Forget about the TV.
Okay, so the question I'm asking Mazi team is, what are the chances that we are not going to succeed in our quest for Biafra restoration? Is
All
there
right.
any chance that it will just end up on the internet?
All right.
Please,
Thank
I
you
want to
very
hear
much.
from him.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So before the next caller comes, let's get the team's reaction um, to these contributions.
Okay, let me respond to the first person that sort of lectured us. IPOB versus Indigenous People of Biafra versus IPOB membership. You're right. We've always maintained, IPOB have always maintained that if you are born an Igbo, Ishekiri, Ijo, Ibibio, more likely you are a Biafran. And if you're a Biafran, you are an indigenous person of Biafra. Now, that is different from when you go and become a member of indigenous people of Biafra under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. I did mention that when we started. We do recognize that there are several people who are fighting for Biafra. It's not only us. We call them pro-Biafra institutions. And we respect each and every one of everybody. It's like one Jesus, different bishops. So that's the way I view it. There's only one Jesus Christ that every Christian look up to. But there are different bishops from different countries and different places. One thing that unifies us is the key message of Christ. If Christ was living today, what would he do? That's the always question people should be engaged on. So, so just to affirm what he said, members of IPOB are not claiming that they are greater than the other Biafrans. It's just that we have put ourselves forward and we're trying to educate the other members of Biafra on what we need to do. So we're offering some level of leadership. And there are other people who have put themselves forward to offer some level of leadership. If what I know today, that every member of Biafra knows it, we become civilized. We will demand our rights, and Biafra will emerge. So, to the extent, the success of Biafra depends on what we Biafrans do and what we want. People will only help you if they see that you're going to do something. So, let me go to the second person. You ask him from Aberdeen, Scotland, the possibility that we might not succeed. Well, in probability, um, there's a difference between reality and expectation and hopefulness. The people of indigenous people of Biafra are resolved. They are determined. To them, it's not whether it's possible that we have Biafra, because we've achieved Biafra in our state of mind and only working to actualize it physically. So that's a state of mind. Now, when you come to what is on the ground, if an event hasn't taken place, there's probability that it might take place or it might not take place. So let's differentiate those two. If you're asking me as a member of Indigenous People of Biafra to rate the chance of having Biafra emerge, I would say very high, very hopeful, that is very, very close. We have one more obstacle to overcome. It is not the House of Land, it's not everybody, it's the leaders of Biafra, the political leadership of Biafra. People died in Eminem. And you'd expect your political leaders, like the governors, to issue a strong statement that their brothers were killed, extrajudicial killing, unnecessary killing, a genocide, but they're not. And when there's somebody, the former chairman of OMATA, Onitsha Amalgamated Trader Association, Chief Ozo Anekwe, he made a statement, very brilliant. He said Southeast governors are afraid to condemn the killing because the EFCC will knock on their door. He's not far from the truth. Every single political, most of them are compromised. And all of them have issues in their cupboard. So if you don't align your personal objective with that of our enemies, then you expose yourself and your family. So we understand that. Our ability to navigate this is the last hurdle we are facing. We have people standing between us in Biafra. They are not Fulani people. They are not British people. They are Biafrans themselves. So, so that you understand the problem we have. And we are working seriously to unravel that problem. And until we do, Biafra is still being delayed. Because I can tell you something. When Mr. Smith, the white man, spoke, he said something. He said that Nnamdi Azikiwe was bankrupt, that he stole money from ACB. The white people have serious intelligence. They found that he was vulnerable. So they blackmailed him and forced him to become a second fiddle to the North. That script is being played out all the time. So the Southeastern governors, the senators and the rest, except few of them, I'm not saying all of them, because that would be unfair. Majority of them will steal money when they get into power. And the state security operatives know that. They know the money they stole, and therefore they are compromised, and therefore cannot act on the best interest of me and you. So that is actually where we are now. And that is the next phase of what we are looking at to overcome. And once we do, Biafra will emerge.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, in the team. I have another caller on the line. I'm going to connect him so that he can ask his question to a special guest. Go ahead, tell us your name and tell us where you're calling from.
Okay, my name is Paul Adina, calling from Texas.
Sorry, I didn't get your name clearly.
Paul Adina.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm
you're
calling from Texas.
Texas. Okay.
Yeah, I have a question, like, because we, the indigenous people of Biafra, we are used to, like, always we do the talking and we don't do the action. And I was thinking, what happened in Enugu? Like, is there a way we can set up like a five, five man or five member like council or committee that just to raise maybe a legal action towards what happened? You understand? It's not about how to get a Biafra. It's not about what just happened over the weekend. It's about how to tackle that. You understand? If we can get it through legal action, then we can find where the family is. Like the chief of police that came out in the public accusing people for no reason. They have ammunition, they have guns. Where are the ammunition? There's no ammunition. If you accuse people for crime, you have to show or you have to prove it, right? So if they can't do all that, we have to find where the family lives. You understand? And we can do that. We have people all over Nigeria. We have people all over the world. All we need just to someone in the head over there just to say a word. We need to find where these people live. We need to find their families. And we have to go after them. We have to make their life very uncomfortable.
Okay.
To understand for us to take our experience. You know what I mean?
All
That's
right.
what I say.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The team, I don't know whether it's a question or a reaction, but yeah,
Let me just say something. Maybe a lot of our viewers don't know the money we do contribute money, and take take a listen out to this. In Nigeria, if a politician wants to contest the election, he brings his money and buy the votes by buying people rice and giving them money. In Canada, where we live, we actually donate money for our prime minister to use to run his election. So we fund the election. Okay. So instead of the prime minister giving you, we do give the prime minister money. Me
that's
and you, we donate $5. It'll be bigger than his money.
that's true.
You know how rich he is.
That's
And
true.
that's the concept of what IPOB is doing. If you have your own funding, you won't have to be compromised. You become independent. So why do I touch this? The dues we pay every day. We have cases of
Stand by,
people. You
please.
just heard that I arrested 47 people. Our lawyers are working, and they are not cheap lawyers. We are spending money to take care of it. The people that died will be buried. Their funeral costs, their children going to school, their school fees has to be paid. The widow, the orphans. All these things are things we spend money to sustain the movement. Because if you don't do that, the movement dies. So fundamentally, there's all kinds of money we spend on daily basis to maintain the radio, the platform. People going to hospitals and all kinds of not. So that's one way. One thing I'd like to say before I leave today is the issue of the decay in the entire country. And let me dedicate this last portion to journalists.
Sorry, in the team. Before you go, someone is actually on the line. Let me do her the honors because we've not heard the lady talk. So please, my sister, you need to turn down the other device that you're hearing us from, and let's focus on your phone. So just turn down the TV or whatever you're listening to us from, and tell us your name and where you're calling from, and you'll be the last caller on the show today. Go ahead.
Yes, Uncle Chidi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, Auntie.
Yes. Our national coordinator is a team. I salute. This is the
Thank
sister Ngozi, your only one and only known. I'm calling from Canada.
Oh wow. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And one, I must acknowledge that I'm one of the IPOP members on the oath.
Good.
Yes, I want to thank our national coordinator, the team, for representing us well. I've been listening to two of you and some questions being asked. My concern is, though I've been commenting since our innocent brothers, IPOP members were killed in Yemen, I've been doing I've been commenting, both those who are being naive and cheering that is what they deserve, I comment on that. But my question is, though I appreciate the strength of our people on ground, what is our plan? I know our leader is doing great. The other time, my question is based maybe on Christianity because I saw Cardinal Arinze and the Pope, when Cardinal Arinze was asking a kind of commenting to the Pope that when the Muslims were killed in New Zealand, that they sent condolence letters, but to Africans, especially in Nigeria, people are dying daily. Nobody cares. That's where I want the team to contribute on that. Myself, I've been fighting, even ask some priests, why is it that the church doesn't care? Are we just left out? I know the time of Pope John Paul. I know when Pope John Paul came to Nigeria at Oba. I was with our mother, prioress. That time we went there, we were in front. Pope John Paul visited. What I'm seeing now is I'm a kind of scandalized. Though I'm a Catholic, but I'm a kind of pissed off of what I'm going on. I'm not trying to be biased, but let's the team give us light on this aspect and tell us what to do.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
The team, I assume that you understand the question more than me.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Ngozi. She's a nun. She belongs to our Quebec family. I have four other Reverend Fathers that are members of IPOB family here in Canada, um, and several other pastors and priests.
Uh,
So our family is
okay,
very rich.
hold on, the team. They don't want you to go. You're gonna take these two questions at once. The last, you will now be the last caller. Please, guys, don't call anymore. We need to let team go. Tell us your name and quickly ask your question so that you can treat the whole question at the same time. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Ikechukwu, and I'm
Please
calling.
speak up. Speak up a little bit.
My name is Ikechukwu. Ikechukwu.
Okay.
Ikechukwu.
Calling
Yeah,
from.
I'm calling from Texas. Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, mine is not actually a question. Mine is just to buttress what the very first caller said about Mr. Timo for coming on Radio Biafra frequently to come and educate us more.
We can't hear you very
On
well. Oh,
everything.
we can't hear you.
No, I'm saying that mine is not a question. Mine is not a question. Mine is just like a suggestion. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm trying to like buttress what the first caller said. The very first caller who said that we need more of Mr. Timo for coming on the Radio Biafra to do more of presentations and programs. We need people like him. So I'm standing on what the first caller said.
Okay.
You understand? We will not need to come time and again to come
Okay.
and educate us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you very much for your contribution. Okay, Mr. Timoka, for continue with your submission.
I am disappointed with the state of journalism in Nigeria. And this has been building up for quite some time. When I was in Nigeria, there's a journalist called Dele Giwa. They will spend money and do investigative journalism. So whatever thing the government tries to cover up, the press at the vanguard of the people will unmask it. What we see today is it's very disappointing. The government, for example, we go one place and shoot up people and put up nonsense propaganda. That we do that and say, oh, IPOB people killed DSS operative. We didn't kill no DSS operative. Our members had no guns. They ambushed them and killed them. I was watching the commissioner of police in the press conference. He said they are unaccounted for. It's very, very difficult when these journalists will write it's not there. How do you know it's a clash? If you didn't cover an event, how did you know it's a clash? How can you describe it as a clash? Because government said it's a clash? You believe this government more than you believe IPOB? You think with all the things government have done and lied that they have more credibility than IPOB, who are just ordinary masses. And they've repeated this over and over and again. An organization, a human rights organization, have counted 15 times they've shot up people and killed over 500 people, and they come up with the same thing. IPOB attacked them with their own gun. And you go out as a journalist and you want to write, and you said there's a clash. So you invaded people, and maybe you were shooting them and they feel pressure to the wall and they threw a stone at you. It's a clash. Why don't you call it? I read the report of Reuters, and the language they use is more appropriate. If you're reporting what somebody says, say report what somebody said. Don't describe an event that you're not there, unless you go and the investigation. IPOB have come and said 21 people were murdered. Go and investigate. Who are they? Which community they come from? And if the government said two DSS or whatever nonsense they're talking was murder, let's find out what killed them, who were there, what happened to them, and then do a story. It's disheartening and also encouraging that several civil liberties are not like World Igbo Congress um, have come out, a lawyer Geoffrey, World Igbo Congress, International Society of Civil Liberties, they've all come out and condemned it. That's how a society grows. Even if, let's assume on the premise that IPOB is outlawed and proscribed, it does not still give you right to go and kill them in cold blood. That's not what the law says. It doesn't say go and shoot them down. Regardless, these people need to be brought to justice. That's what a civil society does. In the United States of America, even criminals that were caught on the act are arrested and tried. Police does not go there or call in the army and shoot them and kill them. That's why when they look at blacks, they think there's something lacking in our brain. So if you're a Nigerian and you're promoting this sort of violence and you live outside Nigeria, Europe, or Canada, and you're promoting this crude, primitive violence, and then you come here and complain, oh, white man racism against me. That's pure contradiction. Because white man will respect you if they see that you think like human beings. And right now, your country of origin is not thinking, they are thinking like animals. You just go one place and kill your own citizens. So let me leave that and address the issue of what the nun said. Here is the thing. Every institution have a way they operate, especially something like the Catholic Church. I don't know the policies that guide them. Church is a church. It's like either the Pope or the Archbishop of Canterbury or otherwise. They primarily are not political institutions. You need to understand also that not only these countries, these churches also value the lives of Africans less. The Pope talked about, the Pope has what is called an ambassador. I think it's called a Papa Pronuncio. So the Pope has an ear in Nigeria. Trump has an ear in Nigeria through the ambassador. So is other these countries. And they keep processing this information. They do get this information. But what you need to ask yourself, is the church ready to confront the state of Nigeria? Why haven't countries, why should the church? It's another question. If the church should do it, why should Nigerian clergy who are of Biafran descent or Igbo clergy not raising this issue? It's another question. There are proper questions to be asked. Do we know whether they have brought this up? Okay, when you talk about the shooting of Muslims, it was an act of terror. Now, when government puts up a message to the world that this is a clash, and the whole spectrum of TV and print media in Nigeria is buying the nonsense and is reporting to the world, that there's a clash. Nobody's going to sympathize with you. I'm privy to an information when Trump set up through the office of Vice President Pence to investigate the killing of Christians in Nigeria. They had sought the opinion of Osibanjo, the vice president, who happens to be a pastor and a Christian. And in his disposition, the position, he told United States of America that there was no killing of Christians. Rather, there was farmers and herdsmen clashes. So if the Christian Coalition of America, who is sponsoring this inquisition, to find out who we believe that a pastor who happened to be the second citizen of Nigeria will be the spokesperson representing Christians. We tell them what is happening, and he goes and makes such a statement. So we need to look at these things in perspective. That you understand Nigeria doesn't mean an institution overseas. They rely on reports from human rights organizations, print media, their ambassador, and all kinds of other ways. Now, if we, Biafran journalists in Biafra, cannot uncover this, and the Biafran institutions like our own governor, you're worried about the Pope? Are you kidding me? You're not worried that your governors, your senators, have who I don't know why some people, some Biafrans want that somebody outside will come and rescue us when we are the people who will rescue ourselves. If our people, just like I said, the biggest hurdle we have is that the political leaders that we have, that were imposed on us, are the people who are actually enslaving us. And it's from the copybook of what the British did in their indirect rule in Africa. So they set up warrant chiefs, and they've replaced the warrant chiefs with these political operatives. And they share the loot from Nigeria with this elite to keep the status quo. And if we, the people, cannot tell the world, well, we can see the shooting of the Muslim mosque. It was all over. It was recorded. So people can actually see what happened, that this man went in there and killed the innocent people. I condemn that. I'm not a Muslim, but you cannot go and kill innocent Muslim worshippers. This issue is not issue of Muslim versus Christian. It's not. When we talk about the reason why we are afraid is if you have an Islamic state, it then means that all your freedoms are gone, that you have to live according to the tenets of the Quran, which was written, God knows, thousands of years ago. Okay? And I'm not ready to live in that kind of state. I cherish my freedom. I want to be the person making decision whether I want to drink here. I want to be the decision whether I want to go to nightclub. I want to make decision whatever thing I want to do and whichever way I want to live. And that is why I want to live in a secular state. So let us condemn any act of killing, whether Muslims or Hindus or whatever. We are a civil rights movement. We are against it. And the Pope must condemn it because it is the right thing to do. Now, if the church in Nigeria, I'm pretty sure you need to understand this politics. The church in Nigeria, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, is not only populated by Biafran bishops, it's also populated by other bishops. And who says that religious people are not tribal or sentimental? Take a look in America. The demograph showed that the white Catholics support Trump. The Latinos and the Spanish, Latin American Catholics support Biden. The Protestants, evangelical white, support Trump. The black evangelists and pastors and evangelicals support Biden. Why? The same bishop, but different decisions. So as you look at it in terms of your religion, you look at it in terms of your race, you look at it in terms of how it affects you. So all these things come to play. So let us get something very, very clear. The interest of the Pope and their members relates to the way they govern, just like other churches. The Biafrans must solve their problem. The Biafrans must solve their problem. Our problem is not going to be solved by foreign government or foreign churches. If our brothers and sisters who are clergy in the Catholic Church, we have four Reverend Fathers here. If the ones in Biafra will rise up through education and understand that the call for Biafra is not hatred against Hausa or Yoruba or that we are, it's not an issue of supremacy. We are not superior to them. We are not better than them. But we believe we will function a lot better together because we have one civilization. And that there will be less friction and more of a unity to find what suits our people so that we will have a better life for us and for our children.
Thank you. Thank you so much, the team. At the end of the day, I know you had to stop everything you're doing, and here in Canada, time is money. Only God knows how much money the time that you have committed to this program is worth. But you can see from the interactions that we've had with people, from those that called in, from the comments on the chat room, that it was a very worthwhile venture. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you for making our time to be part of this program. You have really enlightened us, and you have also shown, like somebody said, that the people in IPOB are not just miscreants as people want to, some people will want to see it. I think it is important that people like you are seen, quite often on talking about IPOB. So once again, the team, thank you so much. If people want to join IPOB in Canada, yes, how do they join IPOB in Canada? These are for people who are in Canada. How do they, or they want to reach you? What is the mode of communication?
We have a website here, ipobcanada.com. You can go in there and send me an email. That's info@ipobcanada.com. So one area you can go there. We have some materials that we put up there. We have various provincial coordinators and their contacts there also. Or you can reach me, the national coordinator, at 416-919-5125. I'm on WhatsApp, on regular call, regular text. So that's basically what we do. If you're already in Canada and once you call me or one of our members, we will send you a WhatsApp link. Once you click on that link, it brings you to a group. In that group are people who have signified their intention to join or who haven't joined. So we give you sort of an orientation and then bring you in and formalize your membership. So again, 416-919-5125.
Okay. Thank you so much, the team. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me, Doc.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Okay, guys. So that was the team Okafor, who is the coordinator of national coordinator, the indigenous people of Biafra, Canada. Um, well, if you missed the things that he said, I will advise you to go back and play this video so that you can understand what he was saying. So many things that he said, so many education that we got here. But just to let you guys know, and I want to appreciate all those of you who have been saying thank you, Chidi, thank you, Worship Media. What you're doing is good. We really appreciate you guys. We try to be as fair as possible on our channel. We try to bring in as many people as possible on our channel. We don't really discriminate at all. I am Biafran. I don't say that with any reservation or any apologies. I am an unapologetic Biafran, and I also accommodate people from everywhere. Tomorrow, right on this channel, just to prove to you what I am saying, we're gonna have another special guest. So it is what the reason why we do this is we want to be able to, have different perspective of what is going on. We want to be able to have different people talk to us. And so tomorrow we're gonna have a very special guest, a lady that I consider to be very fierce and focused. This is Aisha Yesufu. Aisha Yesufu will be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Toronto time, 3 p.m. London time, and 3 p.m. Edo time. Now, Aisha Yusufu is not somebody that you need to be introduced to. If you don't know her, I will advise that you go online and read a little bit about Aisha Yusufu so that you will understand the kind of person that we are bringing to our platform tomorrow. And this is just to let you guys know that we cut across everybody. We also have a special channel too that we dedicate to Igbo people, because when I told you guys that, look, I'm going back to my roots to go and discover my people, discover where we are coming from, discover why we are having some challenges that we've been having. I have not relented on that effort. I've been doing my best. This is what I and my wife, we have resolved to do with our channel. And so I encourage you, if you are an Igbo speaking person, if you love Igbo, if you understand Igbo, or you want to learn more about Igbo people, I invite you to come to this new channel. We'll call it Worship Media Igbo. And this is specifically designed to deal with Igbo culture, Igbo origin, Igbo way of life, and all of those things. On tomorrow again, we are going to have a special guest. We have a special guest on that Igbo channel. I saw someone on the chat room asking how he can join Igbo channel, and we put the link there. Dr. Erica is also going to put the link again. But tomorrow we're going to have a special guest on that Igbo channel. Okay, this person, if you've traveled by road on in eastern Nigeria, you probably use this person's company. He is widely known all over Nigeria in the transport business. He's an Igbo man, a very proud Igbo man, and we are proud of him. And we'll be having him as a guest on our Igbo channel. He is no other person than Samuel Maduka Onyishi. So we're going to be having Samuel Maduka Onyishi by 12 noon Toronto time and 5 p.m. Nsukka time. I know when I speak like this, some of you are wondering, Chidi, are you sure you can speak Igbo? Ana m asụ Igbo, na-asụsụ Igbo ike, ya bụrụ onye ọbụla bụ onye Igbo. Ị bụrụ onye Nsukka, ọ dị mma ka ị bịa iche bịa hụrụ nwanne gị nwoke. I'm not from Nsukka, but that's just to show you a little bit of what I can do. And for the rest of you, I want to thank you for your continued support. Try to understand what we do on Worship Media. If you don't understand us, ask questions. Reach me by phone, by WhatsApp, by email, by Instagram. any way you can and let us talk. We must continue until we are all completely emancipated from mental slavery. From all of us here at the Worship Media Studio, on behalf of Dr. Erica, on behalf of Dr. Erica, you hear me, they say Dr. Erica, you don't want me to eat my food. Which one is your own? You don't subscribe, go and subscribe. Like I was saying, on behalf of Dr. Erica and every member of our crew, I want to say that I love you. Please take care of yourselves. Bye bye.